Welcome to a rare afternoon edition of Pounding the Meat podcast. I'm your host, Matt Panetta. We're switching things up today. Special afternoon show. I know we haven't been on in a while. I just want to say, first of all, that all of us at PTM, we miss our viewers, and we appreciate every single one of you for tuning in whenever we go live. Today, we are very excited to bring you an exclusive interview with AJ from LaToonie World of Collectibles. It's a go-to spot for wrestling figures for collectors of all ages. If you're hunting for rare finds or must-have figures, or just want to talk shop about collecting, LaToonie is where it's at. Joining us for this conversation is our special guest, and he's no stranger to Pounding the Meat, my good friend, Dyl Klöepfer. Let's bring Dylan on.
Hey, what's
Welcome,
up?
Dylan. How are you, sir?
Very happy to be here. How are you?
I'm great, Dylan. Really happy to have you on the show today and for setting this up with AJ. Before we bring AJ on, I just want to say to our viewers watching, either live or later, on a personal note, some of you know that we haven't been on as frequently, but that's because my family just welcomed another baby into our home. So you'll be seeing a little bit less of me on Wednesday nights for a while, that is. And, let's be real. I know some of you might prefer it that way, but for now, let's get the show rolling and bring on our special guest, AJ from LaToonie. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. First of all, congratulations on the new addition to the family. And good to see you. And, thanks for inviting me over.
Great. We're very excited to have you, AJ. Dylan, this is your interview, my friend. Whenever I know AJ's on the West Coast, so a bit of a time difference for us, but we were able to move things around and make this happen. So the floor is yours, Dylan, and I'll jump in every now and then.
Well, apparently AJ has an interesting story to start us off tonight about a blue macho. Is that correct?
Yeah. So let's. I know there has been a lot of discussions, right, about blue macho, and believe it or not, I got so many comments like macho, God forbid, will be, rotating within his grave or whatever. And when that was originally launched. But really, I think, a lot of growing up, right? So I didn't get an opportunity myself to play with LJN. I kind of grew up more in the Hasbro era. And obviously, when I spent most of my childhood in different countries, whether it was in Kuwait, Pakistan, USA, right? So it was kind of like, changing different schools every 3-4 years. So it was always like you will get the leftovers, whatever was left at that time. So Hasbro wasn't anything, and we never got the Ultimate Warrior. So believe it or not, the only we used to get was some of the, I would say, we'll get a Sid Vicious and like 1,000 Sid Vicious, because I think every overflow of the inventory used to end up in those countries. So anyways, long story short, never really got an LJN figure growing up. So my second son, he likes wrestling toys. He's still 3, but he kind of watches along whenever there's Royal Rumble on. He still doesn't understand most of it, but he likes to play with toys, throw them around. And I had that old Macho from the LJN series, and I was very personally reluctant to give it to him. And believe it or not, the reason was it's beaten, and plus the material itself, you just don't know. You don't want them chewing on something. And so as a parent, you are always a little bit nervous. So and he was like, oh, I wish this was in this color, this color, this color. And he kept on saying blue, blue, blue. I was like, what can we do to actually make it something which will be more relatable to most of the, like most of us have children or want to plan, so basically you want to relate it to them. So that's where this guy came about. I only have one sample right now, and he tore it apart because I tried to hide him. So this is the one we have. I don't know if you let me give you a closer look.
That's
so it's kind of like in animated, kind of what we're calling it. If I take this out, so you'll kind of get, it's the same one, but obviously the paint job will kind of, remind you of, Macho Man in like a ultrasonic suit. And the word ultrasonic suit actually came about, if you were an 80s kid, you might have heard about Silverhawks.
Yep.
Now, Silverhawks had a very rare figure in Quicksilver called Ultrasonic Quicksilver. Look it up. I think it goes for like $3,000 or $4,000 now.
Oh,
Wow.
So, and so they gave him like a suit. So the whole concept was, yeah, it might look like that X-Men character, but the suit idea was to have him still wear that suit on him. So that's basically the concept was. But yeah, it kind of can look at that X-Men character as well, right? So it will relate to that. So we're still making some final adjustment, but this will be in production very soon.
That's very cool. Wow. I do have some Silverhawks around the
Yeah.
house. And yeah, that's a very cool story. I'm glad you could share with us today.
AJ, I also have a 3-year-old, so I can relate to to him throwing around the original LJN figures. Dylan actually gifted my son a few beaters that he can play and not worry about ruining. I've got my mint ones above me here on my desk, but I know what you mean about him chewing on it, because you never know with the rubber and the paint and everything else too. Back in the day, a lot of the people used to call them dog toys. So
yeah, and I think especially for a 2-year-old, when they're trying to, as a parent, you would get reluctant. I think that's where. So I always get, as soon as I get one, I give it to him. He has pretty much, some of the early samples, right? So but it's good to see, them enjoying some of the characters that we were superheroes to us, right, growing up.
For sure.
One thing that I know me and Matt are really curious about today is what that moment is like when you go from being a collector / seller of wrestling toys to an actual creator of them, and what those moments and the ones that follow them are like. Because that is an absolute dream to Matt and I.
Yeah, so, I think Dylan and Matt, I think originally when I started LaToonie, it was roughly, I would say, March, April 2023, somewhere around that, when it was actually, excuse me, started. And the idea was to actually, be a competitor for BBTS, Entertainment Earth. And we started on that, and we did pretty decently well. I mean, we were selling Mattel stuff, wrestling toys. Motu Origins, right? Was pretty hot. I think they have slowed down a lot now. They're going into more crossovers. I think they have built 100 odd figures, maybe more than up until this point. So they were going pretty hot. Then there was WWE stuff. We still you sell Super 7 stuff. Every Super 7 that comes in, we basically So I try to actually follow the lines which I personally love. So I don't sell every Super 7, but if you look at Thundercat, Silverhawks, some of the core Ninja Turtle stuff, some of the core Transformer stuff. So we try to bring them on because something I can relate to. I know obviously when you're running it as an e-commerce store, you want to basically get the product which the consumer is going to be looking to, be able to look to go out of their way to actually get them. So, but fast forward, when you're trying to compete with such big names, you need to actually bring in some exclusivity. Like, it is very difficult to break a customer from Amazon, from Big Bag Toy Store, from Entertainment Earth, unless you're offering something special. And that's the way the world operates, right? It's if you look at the way Kia.
Nope.
Oh.
We might have lost you for a second, AJ.
Sorry, am I still audible?
You're back.
Yeah. What? Give me one quick setting.
To AJ's point about just how collecting toys in general and just marketing and consumerism has changed so rapidly in the last so many years. When you're competing with companies like Amazon, you can order things at the push of a button from your phone wherever you are, and it can come to your home in no time at all. I can only imagine that as a company, what kind of thought process goes into the products that you make in order to be a competitor.
Yeah, so let me, just addressing to that point was that when you are so my goal was to actually bring in some exclusive to LaToonie, so that way we can get the traction. So because when you're trying to basically sell these out to the consumers, you want to bring the traffic to the site. So the best way approach, at least at that mind, was, okay, maybe I can go out to these vendors, right, who are these companies, and ask them, hey, give me a an exclusive from one of their lines. Uh, so there were good positive and negative discussions, but at the end of the day, the timeline was too huge. It was like, okay, you will get it after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So that's not the timeline that was workable. So at that time, there were a lot of retro companies coming in, and after that exclusive thing actually didn't really go that well, we decided, hey, what can we do to launch our own line? I think, luckily at that time. Again, when you're launching a product, especially when you're launching a series, you want to bring the best available talent out there. There is no better talent in the world, I would say, than Andre the Giant, Macho Man, Ric Flair, just to name a few. There are obviously a lot of other folks, but when you talk about the biggest names out there, these are the biggest available names out there. So that's basically when I started to go and look into that. It didn't really took me that long, honestly. I think I was able to wrap it up in a couple of months, get all the licensing secured, and then it was off to, okay, now the licensing is there. How do you make an action figure? So that was
You got the big part out of the way, getting the licensing and everything, and then now, yeah, how do we make this toy?
So how do you make this toy? So obviously there's retro, which has big market. You can see there's a lot of players out there. Then there is the old LJN scale, which some people love, some people don't love. It has mixed, I would say, thing. And then you have something which we will be launching pretty soon is the Everest series as well, which nobody is doing it, and I think we will be doing it. Basically after what, 92, 93, in that scale. I know has been some figures done in a higher scale, but they will basically come in. So, anyways, long story short, it was once a licensing was secured, how do you make an action figure? Like, what is even the process to start around it? So, so I come from a tech background. I've been running an IT company successfully for quite a long time, and we always follow what we call as an agile approach, right? You start breaking the project down into phases, right? And that's basically where we started. Okay, what do you want to build first? Let's define the requirements, and the requirement was we're gonna start off with an 8-inch scale, right? So initially, when we first did the prototype, I was like, you know what? We'll basically make it a little bit bigger. So we'll start a new scale line. So it was 8.5, 8.75. I think that's when the original Macho Man. I still have this guy right here. This is the first ever prototype we actually ever built. So this was like 8.5, 8.6. So when I actually stood it up, I posted a picture and they was like, "Oh, this doesn't even scale." I was like, "Okay, that makes sense, right? It doesn't scale."
Yeah.
So I was like, "We got to scale it down." So it's actually a lot of feedback that we got. We were actually learning on the fly with those feedback, right? So when you took that down, we said, okay, we got to get to an 8-inch scale for these guys, right? To match it up with the original LJN. So that was first. Then second is what type of material you want to use, right? Now, a lot of people are stuck on, we want the rubber-like feeling of LJN. So it was extremely difficult to actually find factories who even understood what we are talking about. Let's put it this way. Because you're talking about something which was done in 80s. Action figures are not constructed in this way anymore, right?
A lot has changed in the last 40 odd years. So
And there are actually a lot of different, and we're gonna bring those, right? So I want to actually, we started off with the Macho Man in a very elegant like style, but I do want to take the consumer and show them a new way of doing these things, right? So we're gonna be adding articulation to these LGN figures as well, right?
wow.
So it will be something new, because, and the reason we want to add articulation, because some of the poses we have in mind, they need articulation to make that happen, right? So that way you can better relate to those things. So that's one of the thing we started exploring. Yeah, I mean, we want to do it, but let's also give them a little bit different as well. You don't want to keep doing the same rubber style over and over again. Sometimes you also bring in new modern technology to this, right? The way you actually construct these things. Anyways, I know we have been going long on this, but so finally we found a factory, right? which said, okay, we can do this. Then we started, getting into the once the design was also done that, okay, this is the way we're going to construct this Macho Man. And I think the biggest idea was I'm a big, I would say, as you have seen, the Ric Flair is promo, right? Every time Macho Man will go on his promo, he'll say, ooh, yeah, right? So he'll keep doing that. I was like, nobody has done this ever. Why don't we just, bring this in? And actually, that was his famous kind of look, holding his glasses. And so we kind of got down onto the design. We had, this done. And the next step really was constructing, right? So we went through various construction mechanism. This is actually constructed very differently. If you look at this prototype, this is so soft that you can actually feel it. This is not our production, so we had to make it up because a lot of people wanted LJN like, but this is constructed extremely differently, and we're gonna bring these in when you guys will see the new Andre coming in with the face pin. When you will hold it in his hand, you will see some of the different techniques we basically have used to actually do that. So, anyways, I think one of the question, Dylan, you had asked me how long did it all took. Honestly, when we learned the whole thing and when we got this made, I think it was a 3 month turnaround time to get this
Wow.
made, right?
That's really fast.
So it was a lot of learning, back and forth, but eventually, and actually, it was also a learning curve for our factories also. You're trying to mimic a product built in 80s. They don't have even a way of constructing these, right?
Yeah.
So there's not, if you, even if you go out and try to go out, it will be very difficult to go and it will say, okay, what are you talking about? We can do this for you, we can do articulation for you, we can make it a 16 point whatever, articulation mechanism, which makes sense, right? Because that's a modern product, right? So they are more inclined towards that. So rest was just production time, and in production took like 4 or 5 weeks, and shipment took 5 6 weeks again. Another learning curve. How do you ship these things? How do you construct these things? So now, so it took us 6 months. We started. I had the licenses secured in June 2024, and we had Macho in customer's hand in December. I think the first Macho to land in customer's hand was, I think, before on December 31st or 30th, if I recall correctly.
Just
One
before
guy
the new
got it.
year. Wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
in 6 months we were done. So now we have demolition already starting production next month. Andre is starting production next month, actually this month actually. So that's basically where it started.
What an incredible turnaround. Like
Yeah,
you guys came out of nowhere. So many people have said this online. It's like 2023 was, feels like yesterday. And here you guys are less than 2 years later, and you've got incredible superstars that are going to be in the hands of collectors very, very, very soon.
and
Yeah,
really high quality, really close to the originals like people have wanted
yes.
in terms of sculpt, color, feel, smell,
I
everything.
was going to say, you have to do the smell test.
Yeah, I have to do the smell
You
test.
know,
Yeah.
one thing I would say is, yes, the rubber is good, but we will be, soon making one figure, and I'm gonna construct it extremely differently,
Mhm.
right? And the reason is because I want, like, if you, for example, I probably should not show this one because this is gonna come in July. So
It's
let me.
okay. It's an exclusive on Pounding the Meat right
That's
now.
true.
So let's take this as an example, right? So this is a blue Macho Man, which is what you have. And this is that same guy but differently. But if you look at the definition on this and the actual look, this looks way nicer than what you have even in hand.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
but this is actually totally constructed differently.
Okay.
And so again, it's a lot obviously softer here, right? So like I said, but again, I want to bring this in this. It's not gonna weigh as heavy as what you have in hand, but again,
Yeah,
I
it's got a
think
little weight.
overall, one thing to particularly see here. I know we are probably taking a deeper dive, but I like to you know, for me to learn as well as people can learn as well at the same time. So if you look at it, there are no more lines here,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
There's no seam line here.
Exactly. But so this is the first sample we did. So we're gonna bring this up. Let's introduce a new way of constructing things, right? And then show it to individuals and see what they think, right? At the end of the day, they are still getting a character, but it's just different way of actually placing it and placing the figure together.
I love how you're listening to feedback and you are taking the constructive criticism, and ultimately at the end of the day you're the one that makes the final decision. But the fact that you're taking in that information and processing it and then figuring out, well, how can we improve, how can we change things, how can we make our product better and different and something that people are going to want to collect and that no one else is doing.
Yeah, I think it's Matt. I think the idea is, as I mentioned, it's agile based construction, right? So you do iterative development. So you go to the prototype phase, you place it out, you get feedback, and a lot of folks have corrected us on a lot of different things, which is absolutely, because at the end of the day, it's going into consumer's hand, right? So you want to take their feedback, and some will say, it's literally right this second somebody messaged me about something with health scrubs and not matching, so so it's okay. It's there will be at the end of the day, when you place together a product, uh, you're gonna have to be open for feedback. It's gonna be positive, there will be negatives. You don't just say negatives, oh, I'm not gonna talk to you. It's you have to basically go and actually try to understand these things as well, and then try to see what are the feedback it is and what is achievable, right, in a state you are in the project, right? So like for example, we want to still try improve on, like, Andre being a 10-inch, placing it on a blister is a challenge itself, right? It's because the heavier the figure, the longer the figure, you have to see how you're gonna move it. So doing it in the LGN style packaging, we're still working on those, how to place the figure together. So there's always these challenges you will come about, and then you learn and start adapting to them.
Yeah, that's really great, and I can say personally that I've had a great exchanges for you with you over your products as they've been coming out, and you really have listened to me. I've seen you reply to comments on different Facebook groups and Instagram posts and YouTube videos, and yeah, it's been fantastic. Um, you covered a lot of what I wanted to cover today, which thank you so much. Really, one of the only things that I am interested in is if you can say more about the future, if there's any championship belts or other accessory plans, and if there's like a dream name you have that you'd like to get in the line.
I think the dream name would be to get Bret Hart. I do want to do a Canadian wrestler, and Brett is Brett.
Absolutely.
He was one of my favorites growing up. I think when Hulk Hogan was obviously a big name, but when I was born in 84, so 91, 92, Hulk was more started to get into movies at that time.
Yep.
So for me, it was like Bret versus Yokozuna, Lex Luger versus Yokozuna. Those were kind of the key moments, right, growing up. So I would love to do a Bret Hart, but he's one of the biggest icons from Canada. Obviously, with my Canadian background as well, I think I would love to do a Bret and kind of do a Canadian exclusive for him, right?
Oh wow,
That would be absolutely incredible. I know.
Put him in a what is that, Calgary shirt? I think he's a Flames fan. Put him in a Calgary shirt.
Yeah.
I think Bret would be awesome to do.
I'm pretty
AJ,
sure
I don't have any kind of pull, but if I can hold you to it somehow, some way, and yet if you can bring that to fruition, that would be amazing. Not just for us fellow Canadians, but for all Bret Hart fans around the world. He is the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And to have a LaToonie Bret Hart would be a dream come true.
I think that Matt and I agree that he should be on the $10 Canadian bill.
I think so.
100%.
We're talking about Canadian icons and who should be on our currency. Bret Hart, absolutely.
Bret all day.
Talking about Canadian currency, I think a lot of folks ask me, where does the word LaToonie came from? So there are two stories to it. me and my brother, we used to play Ninja Turtles Nintendo version, the first one, like, I don't know, 20 out of 24 hours when that originally game came out, maybe 18 hours, we were just playing that, trying to get to Technodrome, finish off Shredder. So those mouse, what do you call those?
Mousers.
Mousers, right? So the mousers, my brother actually, he came up with it. He was like, Ahmed, you go and handle those LaToonie folks over there. And so it gets like a name out of nowhere. I don't like, he just, started mumbling, you go handle those. I'm going to go take care of this guy at the top and finish off those guys on the skateboards for you. So, but then when we came here, obviously I ended up moving to LA. First time I ever came to Canada, my first ever job was at KFC, right? So, and at KFC in 2000, they used to do a day called Toonie
Tuesdays.
Mm.
So Toonie Tuesday was, and man, I had to go to the freezer, get the chicken out, marinate it. I used to hate it, but eventually, at the end of the day, when I would like to have those Toonie Tuesday, was to be awesome. So, and then I moved to LA. So I was like, okay, you got LA and you got Toonie, so why don't just we call it LaToonie?
That's
Perfect.
incredible.
That's in heaven.
So that's basically how it basically derived from. But so it was kind of a combination of those two items.
Well, that's awesome. And,
Very
and it's
cool.
got that. It's got those roots in Canadian currency in our toonie, and yeah, just in terms of even like the cartoon artwork that you've included on your packaging on the front and the back.
Yes.
It's got that retro look to it, and it's iconic.
And a lot of folks actually say the idea was to kind of I still have this is the Andre card bag. I don't know if you guys seen it
There's
yet.
a macho card
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. So the idea was to actually have some excited individuals and some not so excited individuals, right? So because uh, whenever there is a Big Mac, there's always a fan of the other guy, right? So that's why a lot of folks say, why is this sad? He's sad. His guy hasn't won. So, so that was another thing to do that. But really, the idea was to have one guy holding obviously the company name and then put a name of the wrestler there. We were trying to avoid that sticker over there to save some real estate as well. So that's basically, we'll continue on to that. But one of the feedback a lot of folks have given us is they want to see what is coming or what has come. So we are still contemplating. We are too early into the waves. We're just gonna be Andre and Demolition will be, character number 3, including Smash, who will come down the road.
Nice.
So when you do that, I think we'll start adding those right in over here. So that was kind of the idea, and then I think every November, December, I think we'll try to do some paint variants. Like, I don't want to go too crazy over it, but the paint variant has to make sense so people can actually relate to it. But there are so many cool paint variants in Macho you can do, or some of the other characters that it just makes sense sometimes to do it.
I think with variants, I think you nailed it, AJ. You want that variant to be very specific. You want it to make sense. Some companies do, in my opinion, way too many variants, or the variants just don't make sense. You want that variant to be something that people are going to be sought after, but at the same time, you don't want to overdo it, right? You don't want to do it to the point where people are like, oh, this is like the other company, or this is just like the competition. You want it to be very unique.
Yeah, no, I think if you look at the first 2 paint variants we have done, it's kind of like a toy variant, you can call it, in pink. Or Macho also wore pink trunks, right, during some of his matches. And the other variant was from his SummerSlam gear. So it kind of makes sense. So similarly, we have one more probably planned. Actually, there will be probably 2 more paint variants in this. But one of the paint variant is nobody has ever done that, right? Unless somebody out of nowhere thinks of that idea right now and pops it in tomorrow. But nobody, nobody has ever done that. And the reason I want to do that specific paint variant to, because I think the character deserves it, right? So that's where I think, where my focus is. And talking about future, I think I know Brett is still on #1 list, man. If I can get him, but I think we still are gonna be. There's one more line that we will launch, probably around summertime. We're still working on some prototypes for that, which will kind of scale to the more He-Man style figures, right?
Very
So
exciting.
yeah,
That's
so that's gonna come around summertime, and obviously there's gonna be Everest series as well that we will be launching fairly soon, probably sometime today.
things are in motion. You
Yeah,
not only do you have a lot of future superstars and wrestlers coming out for your already existing lines, but you've got some new lines that haven't seen the light of day yet, but just around the corner. You guys are going to take another popular design, with that nostalgia, that retro feel, and continue to evolve as a company. That's very, very respectful and admirable as a company. And I know a lot of toy collectors, young and old, are going to be excited to get their hands on so many of these different lines that LaToonie has to offer.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you so much. We
Dylan,
really
is there anything else? I know AJ's has to go in a couple moments, but is there anything else that you wanted to?
I couldn't be more excited about the Remco AWA style line, and I hope we get to talk to you again soon.
Absolutely.
We've got a commenter, Bill, saying that he has both the first Macho Man figures, and they are fantastic, excellent weight and feel to them. You will not be disappointed. I've got the SummerSlam Macho Man that I ordered a few days ago, so I can't wait to get that shipping notification. And
you will probably get it by Sunday. I think we are trying our best to turn these around as quickly as possible. Believe it or not, again, I'm pretty honest. It's like we ran out of our shipping boxes, so we had to delay things.
It's one of those things, right? That you learn kind of as you go, and when the demand is there, it's one of those hiccups that I'm sure happen.
Now that's not going to happen for we got our notification in, so you'll get that pretty soon. Again, thank you both for your time and for inviting me, and I think let's just keep doing it every couple of months. I think as we get new releases, let's just keep doing it.
I'd love that.
Ecstatic to do that, AJ. And then when you're in town next, let Dylan and us know.
Please do. Yeah.
Got some moments. We'd love to get together, maybe grab a coffee or tea or something, and just shoot the shit about wrestling and toys.
Tim Hortons, man. Tim Hortons, 2 cream, 1 sugar. That's the best.
That's it. I'm gonna keep that programmed up here.
It's on me. He's buying. Yeah, he said he's buying.
Hey, it's on me. It's on me. And maybe we can pick your brain some more when we meet with you at Timmy's. But AJ, thank you so much, my friend, for coming on Pounding the Meat. And Dylan, thank you very much for setting this up. We look forward to having you on our show again, AJ, and talking about the other exclusive toys that you have in the near future.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Have a great day, AJ. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Dylan, amazing. Fantastic. The fact that now AJ is going to be coming, he's going to be a regular on Pounding the Meat, and you're kind of becoming a regular on Pounding the Meat.
Yeah, so I'll be there each time, schedules permitting. And I did want to give a shout out to AJ's shipping boxes. No one else is doing these besides Super 7, and this is what your figure comes in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it really helps with the shipping and the protection, because especially getting things to Canada, it's crazy.
We get hit hard with a lot of the import fees, and that aside, it's just you never know when a package is being shipped out from overseas, whether it be from the US or from China. Things happen, unfortunately, along the way with shipping. So if you can keep it as secure as possible as it makes its journey to us, all the that's awesome that they've included those boxes. They're nice. They keep the packages safe. And I like the card. I wanted to, I'll ask AJ the next time he comes on our program. The artwork on the back of the card, especially, I believe the poster that's included with the figure is the same artwork on the very back. And I think a lot of collectors, even of the LJN line, didn't always open their posters. Some would display them on their walls and have their walls covered with the posters. But for those collectors that want to kind of keep it mint and keep it rolled up, you'll be able to display the artwork if you keep the packaging. And so
and he also included, I don't know if you can see it behind me here, let me just get out of the way, this blanket with the same artwork.
That's incredible.
It's very big, because you know me, I'm a lot of loving over here, and it's about my size.
You can get that on the website LaToonie.com as well.
Actually, it was a free add-on for
Wow.
my Macho Man that just came for doing the pre-order.
Yeah.
So he's very attentive to his customers.
That's
and
really cool, man.
likes to throw in everything extra he can.
That's awesome. Johnny, what's up? Hope you get a chance to watch this interview. If you're just joining us now, it'll be live up on the channel and in some of the Facebook groups. But
I believe that's the first time he's mentioned the AWA Remco line.
I believe so too. So you heard it here first.
Yeah, very exciting news.
Bill commented earlier in the program, thank you for watching, Bill, that the cards are thick, very good quality. They're thicker than the original LJNs.
Yes, they are. I can guarantee that because I did a feel comparison, and they're just ever so slightly thicker. And yeah, like look at this. Like,
and the bubble came off very nicely,
cleanly,
very easily.
very cleanly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was
shout out to AJ, man. Like, we'll have to have a part 2 very soon.
Yeah, looking forward to it for sure.
I'm looking forward to it as well, man.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dylan, for setting this up. And again, thank you to AJ and LaToonie. Really cool stuff coming your way soon. I'm going to have to do a review when my SummerSlam Macho Man comes out or arrives. Hopefully not too long. But again, kind of out of the blue, a different time, a different day. But we do what we can to bring these shows to you wherever you are in the world. So Dylan, without further ado, my friend, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who watched us live and who tuned in later. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Take care.